Hey everyone, it's Em from My Life Planned. Thanks for being here today. We are doing an unboxing and walkthrough of the Faded Chronicle A5 planner for 2026. I am very excited. I pre-ordered this one in July, so it's been a while coming. I ordered this from Favourite Things Collective, which is a business run by Megan, a lovely Australian living in Brisbane. I've mentioned her on previous videos, and she is an authorised seller for a lot of our favourite planner companies, like the Coffee Monsters Co., Once More with Love, so many more. And she often organises pre-orders for us, and the Faded Chronicle release was one of those. And with her orders, she often has like a stone and then a sticker with an explanation. So that's a lovely perk from ordering through Megan. So that came in this bag. And I think the rest of these freebies came with the planner. So let's look at those first. I will also say, like, the packaging is gorgeous, and this box, you kind of pull it out from inside this box. It's been a long day, excuse me, while I'm finding my words. The first freebie is this Faded Chronicle bookmark. You can see the F and the C, and it is a 2026 calendar, and you can see it's got that kind of debossed 2026 pattern. Very lovely. And then, wow, we've got this. I don't know if it's a magnet or a pin. Hopefully it's not too crinkly, the sound of opening it up. It's my preference for this kind of a product for it to be a magnet rather than a pin. So that is so sweet. So that will look great on the front of my planner. And then there is a set of tabs. So there's 12, I would say they're really like neutral and jewel toned. And then the 4 at the bottom without any labels, and you have note, yearly, monthly, daily, and lists that you can use for those custom tabs. And I might just grab a piece of white paper we can put underneath them so you can see the colors maybe a little bit better. Okay, here we go. So yeah, I think that captures the vibrancy of them. I will say, standard for my videos of late, despite going into summer, it's so grey and dreary here. I would love to test these out now, but I don't want to make a mistake with them. But the font is really classic and simple, so I'll definitely report back when I do use them. So again, extremely generous freebies. I don't expect freebies when I'm ordering a planner. Maybe it's because it was a pre-order from July. I'm not sure, but I'm very grateful for them. But again, I don't expect them. So this is the outer packaging. I will take it out of the packaging off camera because I feel not everybody wants to hear it. Straight away, one of the things that I noticed about this planner is it's like hefty and it's quite thick. I don't know why. I thought it might not be so big, but you can see, I think it's actually, yeah, thicker than a Hobonichi cousin. This cousin I didn't really use much because it was the first time they brought out the English version. I couldn't deal with the translations for all the stuff at the bottom, so I didn't really use it. So it's not a floofed up, you know, well-used planner. And yeah, so it's got a really good size to it. So this outer packaging we can remove, which has, I think, just the information. So 2026 Chronicle Planner, and it gives you some of the details. So in case I didn't mention, it is the A5 size. This is the mushroom. I don't know if you can pick up how beautiful this cover is. It looks like how you might expect like a nubuck suede type of cover to look like when you're kind of manipulating it, but it's obviously just part of the pattern. But it feels very soft, and I'm very happy with my color choice. The mushroom, we would call it a taupey color where I come from in Australia. I know a lot of my planner friends from across the world might say that it's taupe, but I would say that it's taupe. So let's have a look at the inside. Again, I think it's like a rose gold kind of embossing. And then down the side, it says the Chronicle Planner 2026. You've got your end paper, the thicker cardboard, and then you've got the Faded Chronicle logo, and again, the Chronicle Planner at the bottom. Don't ask me what I'm using this for. I'm really not sure yet, but when I saw it, I knew that I had to have it. If you follow along in the Faded Chronicle Facebook group and on Instagram, but especially in the Facebook group, Tiffany, the owner, like really walked through a lot of the decision-making process and also asked her group members for advice kind of on the positioning of some of the pages. And I will just say this planner, it does lay flat, right? It's just the initial pages that I'm having to hold down while they're at the front of the planner, but it will be easily trained. So on the right, we have the 2026 calendar, and then on the left, I don't need to move the planner around. We are in view. So then on the left, we've got 2027 and 2028, just in a smaller size. I like that you've got the week number down the side, but as you can tell, it's quite faint gray, which is helpful. And I also like, for example, week nine, I like that it's repeated in that sense, and the weekends are slightly darker grey than the others, but it's not too obvious. Then we have 2 blank pages of graph grid, and there's a margin around the outside, which I like. And then we get onto quarter 1. You've got your 3 months of the quarter. You've got 3 boxes, each one with its own space for a header, and then 3 circles and lines. The spacing on these lines is pretty narrow, which is cool. I guess if you're using this for goal setting, you can add a lot of information there. Then we have your traditional quarterly page where you've got, and the days of the week and the numbers of the month. Obviously a box at the top, a box at the bottom, and the weekends you can't always see with too over the paper when there's a page behind it, but you can see there the weekends are grayed out. And every planner company does this different, but the first is always at the top of these boxes and then it's staggered at the bottom. And these additional spots are grayed out, which, like, I don't think they need to be, but I understand from a design point of view, it doesn't really bother me at all, either way. So a lot of people use this to write calendar items or to highlight something they've done each day, or for habit tracking to do, you know, a tick or a dot or a cross if the habits are listed here. What is also interesting about this planner is all 4 quarterly pages are at the front of the planner. I think we've seen more of a trend for bundled planners recently. So it's interesting that these ones keep all of the quarterly pages together. Now we have the yearly overview. Again, weekends are grayed out, which is my preference. And you can see that we have the number at the top with the day of the week underneath. I really like that this page really maximizes the real estate of the paper. The margins are pretty small. So for me, this is making really good use of the page. I am really bad with using this type of page. Hopefully that's something I will rectify for 2026. Now we are into January, so we've got another blank grid page. I feel like there's a little ridge in these pages, but I think I'm only noticing it because it's flat, so it's not bothering me. I really like the choice of font. It's classic and simple, and you can see here that there is a full line for every day of the month. So again, just so you can't see what's underneath, it's a full line. At the bottom, we've got a grid section that can be used for lists, habit trackers, tracking. I like to track kind of sleep, mood, and energy. We will see as we go through whether every month has this page on the left, or if it's just because January comes first. I suspect it will be there for every month. On to the monthly. So we have, again, really clean design. Monday start, which is always my preference. Weekend days are grayed out. You've got the date in the top left. Love that it's a grid. It's really simple use of note space on the left, and then on the bottom that you can do whatever you like with, and then the next month's calendar at the bottom. I don't need that to be there. When you are filming, you really notice the words that you repeat a lot. I was about to say again, I'm not bothered by it down there. I don't need it to be there, but I'm fine for it to be there. And we get straight into the weekly pages. What really drew me to this planner is that it is a true hybrid style. So we've got a box for week 1, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, weekends blocked out again. On the left, we've got the dates, and we've got one box on the left, another on the right, and you can see each one can have a header if you would like it to be a header or just a space. Then on the right, 2 spots for habit tracking. There's 10 spots for habit tracking in each box. So I don't know if I need space for 20 habits, but like I'd said previously, I do like tracking energy, sleep, mood, and I like to track that out of 10. I might use one of that for that tracking, another for habit tracking. Might also try, is it called the Alistair method, where you kind of list your tasks and then you take note of which day you do it. So there is still flexibility here. And then you've got your 4 boxes at the bottom. Each one also has a header. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit to see more detail. Okay, so here's the days of the week at the top. In my opinion, I think the print is just right in terms of how light or dark it is. There are definitely a few things I didn't notice earlier, like a really faint December to January there. And here is our habit tracking boxes, and then the 4 boxes at the bottom. Remember, we said it's a hybrid planner. So then the next page is the same dates. So again, the 29th of December till the 4th of January, same dates, but in that traditional vertical style. So you've got your calendar at the top, gridded notes down the left, and then your daily timeline goes from 6 a.m. to midnight. I think it's great that there's space to add in the additional hours if you need them. Starts at 6, so there would be room using the same half an hour increments to put in a 5 and a 4 if you're a person whose day starts really early. And then at the bottom, there's room for 1, 2, and 3. So this can be a truly 24-hour timeline if that's what suits you. Here you can also see how the weekends are grayed in a bit more specifically, and you can see the week is also grayed here. I really like the amount of space that's at the top and the bottom boxes because it's actually usable. You could list in things that you need to do in the morning as part of your AM routine if you wanted to, rather than say just having 1 or 2 lines to mention your routine and maybe tick it. So I appreciate that. Okay, so I'm assuming that we are back. Yes, so it will continue with the same weekly hybrid format for the rest of the month, I'm guessing, until we get to February. Same layout, we've got your graph page to the left and then the lined to the right. And it's interesting that it kind of is a bundled planner because the monthlies come as you go, but the quarterlies are all at the front. But again, I actually think I prefer that way of keeping them all together so you can kind of see the progress from quarter to quarter. One of the things that I wanted to check is if there's any doubling up of dates. So this week is the 26th to the 1st, back to the monthly, and the next one continues with the following week. This is my preference. If you saw my Sterling ink video for the complete planner, you have your doubled up weeks, which is not a big deal. It's just not my preference. And I have the Rosy Life Flow Planner coming, and I think that also repeats the week. So I'm glad this one doesn't. So we have the continuation of all of the 12 months. It's interesting that the pages aren't numbered in the planner, but once we get to the end, we do see the introduction of page numbers. We have the final week ending on the 3rd of January. Then we go into our notes pages. So they are numbered at the bottom all the way up to 233 pages. They are all the same. As I said before, they have the margin on the outside, which I really like the look of. We have 233 pages, so there is not enough for a full year of dailies. Maybe the book is already thick enough as it is. Probably would have been cool to have 365, 366 pages. Can you see that ridge there? It is a bit more obvious, but I think it's just part of, you know, having a book bound planner. I'm not bothered. Again, I'm not bothered. It really won't affect me when I'm using this book. So after page 233, we have a spacing guide, which is brilliant. Put some paper behind so we can see the spacing guide. So it tells you how many rows there are going vertically down the page and horizontally, which will make it really easy for when you are wanting to draw columns or grids or count the number of boxes in your planner. At the back, we have a contact list. I don't really think I need that in my planner, but that's fine. I know some people do. And then at the back, you've got your personal info, emergency contact. I think it's a neat idea to have that at the back. Then you've got your end paper and the back of this lovely cover. So look, at first glance, I am very impressed, and I definitely need to find a use for this beautiful book as it is so well designed and so well made. Let's do a pen test. I am not going to use this contact list, so I'm going to use this as my pen test page. So my pen of choice is the Energel Cleaner. So you can see that just by writing and then moving my finger over the top, that it dried pretty much instantly and there was no smudging. So that is exciting. I feel like we've had so many planners this year that were going to be on a certain type of paper that then had to pivot to another type. So I know this is the Tomoe River paper, but I'm not sure if it was ever planned to be a different type, if that makes sense, but it is TRP and it feels lovely to write on. So I'm just starting with some Tombos. The first one was N89. Now we are up to N60, N79. These are just some of my most used colors. N95. Oh look, how many grays can you use in your planner? A lot. Okay, for a bit of a color, 312. I think I might have asked this before. Do you call this 312 or 312? Anywho, let's get into some mild liners. These aren't exactly the same colors I've done on all of my other pen tests because I'm just not sure where they all are. But I can see where the ink is pooling together at the end of these lines, and I'm probably giving some of you palpitations because I'm not really staying in the lines. Apologies about that. Okay, we're almost done. And then I've got two of the dot markers. So I've got the grey and we've got the pink. I don't know why I keep this in my stash because it's so neon. It's really not my type of colour. So the colours look really nice on the page. Let's do the real test and turn it over. So you've got the pen at the top, there's no bleed through. There is definitely indentations, which is how I like it. So looking at this page, there is no bleed through. You can kind of see where the ink is pooling at the end of some of them, but really not all of them. I'm going to see if I can dig out some of the other planners that I've tested, because this looks like one of the most impressive papers so far. I've got the Sterling Ink Complete Planner. So we've got the Faded Chronicle on the left, the Sterling Ink on the right. Not all of the pens are the same, but they both look great. Let's look at the underside. Again, very impressed with this one. Struggling to maneuver a little bit, but I think, look, I don't know if it's the time of day. I definitely think this Faded Chronicle paper has performed the best of the TRPs that I've tested. But again, I haven't had issues with any of them. I'm happy with all of them, but this one looks great. Okay, so I think that comes to the end of my initial thoughts about the Faded Chronicle Planner, the Chronicle Planner for 2026. I am really impressed with what I've seen so far. Lovely freebies, completely unnecessary, but this book is just gorgeous and really intentionally designed. For me, it doesn't have any kind of fluffy pages that I'm not sure how I will use them. A really clever hybrid system that's structured but not too structured. Probably one of the most flexible timelines we've seen, and really well performing Tomoe River paper. So if you have any questions about this book, let me know. I'm happy to follow up with any answers. I know that the rest of the pre-orders will be shipping really soon. I think it's just that some of her international sellers probably got a bulk shipment of them. If you are interested in this type of content, remember to subscribe to my channel so you'll be alerted when new videos come out. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.